Hello, everyone. I hope that this finds you. I hope that I'm seeing all of you in good health and good spirits. I am so happy to be here. I am the board president of CAUSE, the Central Coast Alliance United for a Sustainable Economy. And we could not be happier to be here with you in spirit and also to see so many beautiful comments that we're already getting. And we ask you to please keep joining us in your Facebook feed by commenting on your Facebook account in the live feed, because this is what helps us to all stay in community as we do this strange thing that we never could have imagined we'd be doing since last year. And so I want to just invite everyone, please, to take a deep breath in your nose and out your mouth. And remember that we're all here together. And so first, I would like to start us off in a spirit of gratitude with an amazing quote by Melody Beatty, which speaks to so much of what CAUSE tries to do in spirit. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates vision for tomorrow. I love that quote because it reminds me so much of what we're doing here today in these times, but especially it allows us to move into an acknowledgement and a practice, not just an acknowledgement with rhetoric and language of the land that we are on and of the First Nations people, the Chumash, who inhabited this land and who are the perpetual caretakers of this land, but to adopt that as our practice in all things that we learn together in all things from all beings as we move forward on this path, guided by those traditions of resistance and resilience in the face of genocide and dispossession. We ask that you remember that today we are here gathered in this virtual space to support CAUSE, to raise this justice that is always here. Despite the times that we live in, we are still here, and teamwork makes that dream work. And that is what we are all about at CAUSE. And so we just thank you so much for being here with us today. And we're so happy that you have joined us. These are everybody's got something to say about these times, right? These are unprecedented. These are crazy times. These are wild times. Look, we're going to say today that these are the times in which we have found our purpose together, and we are here together to celebrate our wins, which continue to happen. And I'm so proud to be a part of this organization. And so I wanted to just first begin by introducing as our sort of a first inspirational sort of snippet, if you will, one of our CAUSE family members, Sojourner Kincaid, who is a poet laureate of Santa Barbara, is such an accomplished and amazing woman who I've known most of my life, and who will be reading for us Maya Angelou's incredible poem, Still I Rise.
You may write me down in history. Your life. You may treat me like dust or rise. The sadness you bestow with wells pumping in my ribbon, and my son's sides. Still I rise. He burn over eyes, going down, drowned by my school cry. I hold up to take off.
We have someone who is fixing, because we cannot just keep going without hearing the amazing Sojourner Kincaid. And so our amazing tech person, Sethad, is fixing that. And Sethad, you just let that clip come back on when you're ready. how many of you, I mean, I wish I could say, raise your hand, have been in the middle of some Zoom meeting and your child runs in and says, "Mommy," or you have your dog barking in the background. This is what it is in these days. It humanizes us, and as long as we stay together on this path, it still works just fine because we're inviting ourselves into each other's homes and we're getting to see a little bit more of the human. So I'm wondering, how is it, Cesar? Are we ready for Sojourner's beautiful reading? I believe he's trying. Everybody, please stay with us as he tries. Okay, so we're still,
You
here we
may
go.
write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may tread me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns, with the certainty of tides, and like hopes springing high, still I rise. Did you want to see me broken, bowed head, lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't you take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness. But still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? It should come as no surprise when I dance like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs. Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Out of a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, swelling and welling, I bring in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak, wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream and the hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
As you are joining us, as you are joining us from home, I invite you to raise your fist in the air, just like Sojourner did at the conclusion of that incredible poem, which is so relevant for us today. I want to take this moment to thank our incredible tech people who are working so hard behind the scenes. And I just want to say that everybody who has helped to pull this together has worked so hard. And we are here so happy that this, I mean, just being in community together to do this and to meet this challenge has been so inspiring. So many thanks to Sojourner, who is always inspiring us, and of course to the veritable Maya Angelou. I am also happy to introduce a colleague of mine who has a message for us. Professor Matt Barreto is a professor of political science and Chicano studies at UCLA, and he's also the co-founder of the research and polling firm Latino Decisions, which Time Magazine has called the gold standard in Latino American polling. And The Guardian has also written that it is the leading Latino political opinion research group in the United States. I know him from faculty meetings and just palling around, but his work is amazing and he has a special message for cause.
Matt Barreto. I am a professor of Chicana and Chicano studies at UCLA, and I am the co-founder of the polling and research firm Latino.
Okay, I guess we're still trying to work it out. It's okay. We are so again grateful for our tech folks. We ran through this last time and it was just fine. But it's okay because he got it together before, and I know that Cesar will do it again. And says he's ready, so we'll try it again. Everybody was still teamwork makes the dream work. Let's do this.
My name is Matt Barreto. I am a professor of Chicana and Chicano studies at UCLA, and I am the co-founder of the polling and research firm Latino Decisions. I want to invite you to join me in supporting and investing in Cause, one of the most important organizations we have in lifting up the voices and mobilizing people in the Latino community. Cause is a very important organization, and now is a critical time for us to support them. The Latino vote is going to be more critical than ever this year in 2020. We need to fight against the misinformation that's in our community. We need to fight against voter suppression that is happening. And we need to make sure that information is available bilingually, English, Spanish, and whatever language voters need to get out the vote this year. Last cycle in 2018, did you know that a congressional election for the US Congress was decided by less than 1,000 votes? In the 21st Congressional District in the California Central Valley, 862 votes out of over 100,000. We're looking at margins that are going to be closer than ever, and your participation and involvement is critical. Cause is one of the most important organizations we have, and now is a time to support them. I hope you will join me in investing, supporting, and cheering on what Cause is doing, because they're rooted in our community and they are the best when it comes to organizing and mobilizing Latinos. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hazel Davalos. I am the organizing director here at Cause. I have the honor and privilege of introducing two of our incredible Grassroots committee leaders. In the following video, you'll hear from Santa Barbara leader Estela Montaño and Santa Maria leader Florina Mendoza. Estela Montaño immigrated from Guerrero, Mexico over 17 years ago and has been living in Santa Barbara ever since. Working as a housekeeper, Estela represents so many workers in Santa Barbara who, between low wages and high costs of living, struggle to be able to live where they work. She joined Cause 2 years ago, and she learned about our work around renters' rights and keeping housing affordable in Santa Barbara. She has shared her story before the City Council and has fought for better protections for renters in the city. She is now a strong advocate for herself and her neighbors. She lives with her husband and 19-year-old son. Next, you'll hear from Florina Mendoza. Florina moved to Santa Maria 15 years ago and has worked in the fields ever since. She is a mother of two and the sole provider for her family. Florina got involved with Cause after her coworkers organized for better pay at Rancho Laguna. Florina felt drawn to advocating for herself and her fellow farm workers due to the continuous injustices she experienced herself and saw others experience in the fields. Through learning about her rights as a farm worker this past year, Florina has become a fierce and confident advocate for herself, her family, and her community. In her very little spare time, Florina dedicates her time to learning about social justice topics and cooking delicious dishes to raise money for those who are struggling to pay bills and rent and to send back to her family in Mexico. Without further ado, enjoy the video.
Hola, mi nombre es Estela Montaño y soy de nacionalidad mexicana. Llegué a este país hace 17 años y desde entonces vivo en Santa Bárbara. Estoy casada con un hombre trabajador y tenemos un maravilloso hijo de 19 años que asiste al colegio en su segundo año para posteriormente irse a la universidad. Decidí involucrarme con causa porque me gusta ayudar a la gente y saber sobre mis derechos como indocumentado. Como inquilina he pasado por muchas situaciones injustas, como por ejemplo el incremento de la renta, lo cual me ha llevado a rentar por muchos lados aquí mismo buscando lo más barato para poder vivir bien. Otra de las situaciones fue que el dueño de los departamentos no hacía caso cuando yo le pedía que fueran a arreglar algo. Y en una ocasión decidí ir a la oficina de causas, les expliqué el problema y ellos me ayudaron a redactar una carta para mandársela al dueño y desde entonces me hacen caso y hacen el trabajo en el departamento. Es por eso que creo que Causa realmente se enfoca a ayudarnos para que respeten nuestros derechos. Como voluntaria, Causa me hace llegar información para que yo posteriormente se la haga saber a mis familiares, amigos y mi comunidad. Eso me hace sentir como una líder. Y como líder he visto que el Ayuntamiento de Santa Bárbara aprobó una ordenanza llamada causa justa. Eso se refiere a que nosotros estamos protegidos por un año de algún desalojo. Otra de las cosas que Causa hace es que ayuda económica y moralmente en los desastres, como por ejemplo en esta ocasión del COVID-19, ellos nos dan la información a dónde recurrir en caso de que nosotros nos lleguemos a contagiar. Gratuitamente podemos acudir a la clínica que ellos nos informaron. Otra de las cosas, donde recurrir a pedir comida si nos quedamos sin trabajo y la necesitamos. Es por eso que Causa se enfoca a ayudar a la comunidad más vulnerable como nosotros. Por todos estos casos necesitamos a personas generosas y buenas como ustedes. Para mí su apoyo significa seguir protegido, libre y seguro en este maravilloso lugar. Muchísimas gracias por su atención y de todo corazón le doy las gracias.
Oh, mi nombre es Florina y yo trabajo en Rancho Laguna. Llevo un año trabajando en Rancho Laguna, pero en lo general pues ya tengo 20 años aquí en Santa María y de trabajar en el campo pues llevo como unos 15 años. Yo ando pisco fresa. La huelga lo empezamos el 5 de mayo, sí, y la razón fue de que la primera cuadrilla no quisieron entrar a trabajar porque queríamos que nos aumentaran las cajas porque estaba barato y luego exigían mucho, pedían calidad y no había fresa para lo que ellos pedían. Entonces fue cuando la gente ya no estuvieron de acuerdo. Y la primera cuadrilla fue la que paró y nos empezaron a chiflar pues que no entráramos. Y fue cuando yo también me uní a ellos y a través de esa cuadrilla pues fuimos sacando más, invitando más personas ahí del mismo compañía para que se unieran con nosotros. Y pues así empezó y hicimos la huelga y ya el supervisor pues nos estaba diciendo que paráramos, pero de hacer eso. Pero pues la gente no quería porque lo que queríamos era que nos aumentaran las cajas porque estaba barata. Otra razón es que el supervisor era muy exigente, nos llegaba a la cuadrilla a veces y pues no tenía la manera de cómo hablar a la gente, sino que llevaba con gritos y pues la gente también no estaba conforme, así pues no les gustaba que él nos estuviera gritando y sí, por eso y también por la epidemia que está y por la situación de que ya no íbamos a poder trabajar, nos metieron miedo y todo. Entonces también pensamos pues en la familia y pues cómo le íbamos a hacer también con la renta. La comida empezó a subir y digo pues para ese precio que nos estaban pagando pues no, pues teníamos que ver la manera también y fue por eso que empezamos a pedir aumento en las cajas. Causa nos apoyó la manera de guiarnos a través cómo poder defendernos, cuál era nuestro derecho, porque nosotros no sabíamos nuestro derecho y pues gracias a una persona que se comunicó con Causa y fue que conocimos a este programa y ya le pedimos apoyo y ellos nos guiaron a través de abogados, y juntando firmas, y nos acompañaron a ir a Grassroots a entregar las firmas para que ellos también vieran todo lo que está pasando. Y pues sí, nos apoyaron mucho. Sí, porque nos aumentaron la caja a 2.10 la caja, y pues salimos ganando todos, porque hasta los que andaban por hora ganaron, les aumentaron las horas. Ay, sí, gracias a causa que nos apoyaron mucho, porque ahorita estamos mirando mucho cambio. Hay tienen juntas seguidos con los mayordomos, y el supervisor pues ya se calmó, ya no se mete con la gente, él ya no llega a las cuadrillas, ya ahorita ya estamos a gusto, y pues sí, gracias a Dios ya. Hay mucho cambio, ahorita ya hicieron el cambio de los baños, todo lo que estaba mal antes, todo ya es muy diferente. Yo me siento más tranquila, me siento con más en confianza, ando a gusto trabajando, y pues también aprendí de mis derechos, porque yo no sabía cuál era mi derecho, no sabía cómo defenderme, pero a través de esto ya supe cuáles son mis derechos, y ahora pues de aquí para adelante ya nadie me va, no tan fácil me van a estar como pisoteando.
Yes, thank you, Estela and Florina, two cause grassroots leaders at the forefront of social, economic, and environmental justice here on the Central Coast. Hello, my name is Marisela Morales, and I serve as cause executive director. The pandemic makes it impossible for us to come together in person, but still, we rise together. It's wonderful to be here. And why are we here? We are here, presente, for low-wage workers who are essential always, and whose work is most often taken for granted. For parents and their kids who are fighting right now just to keep from being evicted from the place that they call home. For Madre Tierra, Mother Earth, we are here. We are here for and with young people and people of color who are always at the forefront of social change. We are here in solidarity with Black Lives Matter, in solidarity with Indigenous peoples of this land, with Indigenous peoples forced to leave their land to come here to survive. We are here because no pandemic will silence us or hold us back. Still, we rise. I want to take a moment to acknowledge just a few of the many people we have lost this year. From civil rights leaders to Black people still being murdered by police, to cause board member and allies, to the personal family and friends lost to the pandemic. We remember them when we continue the work for social, economic, and environmental justice. Because of their legacy, still we rise. We rise with the support of our 2020 Cause Raising Justice sponsors. Thank you to our social justice sponsor, United Food and Commercial Workers, UFCW Local 770. Thank you to our Changemaker sponsors, Service Employee International Union, SEIU Local 2015, Community West Bank, Sage Publications, and Latino Community Foundation. Thank you to our coalition sponsors, the CLU Center for Economics and Social Issues, USC Equity Research Institute, Mixteco Indígena Community Organizing Project, Planned Parenthood California Central Coast, the Nature Conservancy, the Fund for Santa Barbara, the McCune Foundation. Nearly 100 of you today are individual pre-event sponsors at $100 to as much as $1,000. Thank you. At the end of today's event, you can be a part of CAUSE's Grassroots Up power building work for social justice by making your own personal contribution today. Power, not panic. CAUSE's work this year is a testament to the power of the human spirit to rise and rise again through and beyond personal and collective adversity. Beyond that personal and collective adversity is the world that we are creating together. A world of equality and justice for all. It's still in the making. We are creating that world together, day by day. Next is our 2020 CAUSE video, sharing just a few highlights of CAUSE's work that has only ramped up during the pandemic. Enjoy. By the pain of this pandemic. 2020 is about how we rise from these challenges to come together as a community and create a world of equity and justice. As COVID-19 swept through the nation, CAUSE turned first to our community. Surveying over 200 grassroots leaders and local community members about how their families were impacted. What we heard was devastating. Essential workers making incredible sacrifices with little protection. Immigrant communities cut out of the safety net with no relief in sight. Families living in fear of losing their homes as rent bills piled up. We knew that in a pandemic, the only safe community is an organized community. Although our communities had been asked to shoulder the greatest burden, we also held the solutions to carry us through.
As the coronavirus spread, so too did misinformation and scams targeting immigrant families. Our team worked to create Spanish language weekly live videos watched by over 20,000 people and informational graphics seen by over 100,000 local residents. We made sure our community got timely and accurate information about testing and safety precautions, school information for parents, social services for immigrant families, rights for essential workers, and eviction protections for renters. But information wasn't enough. In a pandemic, no one can be left behind.
For too long, our country has excluded millions of families from the safety net through difficult times. Our community saw this even during wildfires. Even during time of disaster, immigrant workers, because of their immigration status, are shut out of state unemployment insurance. Since COVID-19 began, undocumented immigrant workers have not received a single unemployment check. We need systemic change. With this experience, we helped to organize the Safety Net for All Coalition statewide, bringing together immigrant and workers' rights organizations across California to call for income support for immigrant workers and their families who are denied unemployment aid during the pandemic. Our community shared their stories with news media, collected petitions, lobbied state legislators, and testified in budget hearings. While some relief has been provided for immigrant families, we still need a full safety net strong enough to include all of us. We rise up together for this today. At the end of last year, CAUSE released a Housing Crisis 805 report based on local economic data and surveys of over 500 renters across our region. We didn't know then that a few months later, this crisis would explode. CAUSE leaders jumped into action, working with cities throughout the region to pass strong eviction freezes in response to the pandemic. We worked with our partners to organize hundreds of local residents in car caravans calling for rent relief. Our community depends on local families being able to shelter, recover, and get back on their feet in the safety of their homes. Tens of thousands throughout our region are at risk of evictions. We know we can't just return to normal. We have to change a system where even before the pandemic, so many lived one missed paycheck away from losing their homes. Today, we're rising up to pass stronger protections against unfair evictions, rent increases, and investments in quality affordable housing.
Since the onset of the pandemic, CAUSE farm worker leaders have spoken up about unsafe conditions in the fields and poverty wages, despite the crucial importance of their work. Our farm worker leaders' stories were featured in the LA Times, PBS NewsHour, Al Jazeera, and other media across the nation, calling for stronger safety standards and better conditions. Dozens of workers at Rancho Laguna Farms in Santa Maria went on strike for 10 cents more per box of strawberries that they supplied to Driscoll's. When their supervisor called the sheriff on the strikers in an act of blatant retaliation and intimidation, the workers reached out to CAUSE. We helped the workers file a retaliation claim to get their jobs back and collect signatures from 75 of their co-workers to deliver to Driscoll's, urging them to address unfair pay, unsafe working conditions, and retaliation against workers who speak up at Rancho Laguna. The farm workers posted their story on social media, where it was shared thousands of times, drawing a massive outpouring of public support. Over 60,000 people signed a petition to Driscoll's, calling on them to hold their supplier in Santa Maria accountable. Soon, these brave essential workers were on the phone with the president of Driscoll's, the world's biggest berry distributor. After negotiating with the owner of Rancho Laguna Farms, the farm workers want to raise double what they initially had asked for, making the 600 workers there among the highest paid in the Santa Maria Valley. They also want improved safety standards, including better training of supervisors and triple the amount of shade so workers can socially distance during their breaks. The workers at Rancho Laguna show that farm workers are leading the movement to organize for the dignity they deserve. But much more needs to be done. We've seen major outbreaks in Oxnard and Santa Maria at crowded housing owned by companies that use the H-2A program. The temporary guest worker program descended from the notorious Bracero program. CAUSE and MICO have been working with community stakeholders and our local public health departments to advocate for better working and living conditions for all farm workers throughout our region during the pandemic. We are still rising for farm worker justice.
We also know that our communities have faced injustices, sacrificing our health long before this pandemic. And with a virus that attacks the lungs, communities of color burdened with toxic air pollution are most at risk. CAUSE leaders in South Oxnard have struggled for years with industry that has used their neighborhood as a toxic waste dumping ground, power plant site, and heavy-duty trucking route. Now, multinational shipping corporations like Glovis, who move imported cars through the Port of Hueneme, are targeting more and more land for expanded facilities along the trucking route through South Oxnard. That means more heavy-duty trucks rumbling through a community with some of the highest levels of cancer-causing diesel exhaust in California. Before the pandemic, CAUSE youth leaders were working to support California passing the first in the world clean truck rule. This will get more electric trucks on the road to clean up the air in polluted neighborhoods near ports, warehouses, and truck routes. But as environmental laws were being suspended in the chaos of the pandemic, big shipping corporations lobbied hard to stop this rule. Cause youth leaders joined our allies statewide to testify that now more than ever, we need life-saving clean air protections. We're so excited that California passed this historic clean truck rule. We continue to rise up for a healthy future for all of our communities.
As we look to the future, we are given hope by our youth. Right now, young people across the country are leading the fight for the world we need. From fighting to keep their families in their homes, clean air in their neighborhoods, or justice in their schools, Cause youth have been on the forefront of our efforts since the very beginning of the pandemic. And as we look to the historic election this November, we know it is our young people who will be leading the critical work to turn out the vote in our communities. At the end of last year, Cause youth from Santa Paula and Ventura won new voter registration policies guaranteeing all students the opportunity to register to vote in class before they graduate. And it couldn't come at a more important time. This November, Cause will play a critical part in the statewide campaign for the Schools and Communities First initiative to close tax loopholes on some of California's biggest corporate landowners, to raise $12 billion for our schools and local community services like healthcare and affordable housing. As we heal our communities from COVID-19, we are growing towards a world that values our education, our health, and our humanity. The next generation is rising up and leading us to the future.
Not panic. If the pandemic teaches us anything, it's that life is worth fighting for. And not just to survive, but to thrive. That all people should and must have access to a healthy environment, to quality schools, to living wages, a house, a home, a place free from the fear of eviction. Many of you tuning in today, whether it's through YouTube or Facebook Live, have been part of this movement. I want to say thank you to you, because just as no one individual can make change happen, no one organization can make change happen. We do this together. We build a movement together. We sustain it. We grow it together. And now, for our annual Cause Youth Leader speaker. Yesenia Gonzalez was born in Oaxaca. Her parents are farm workers, and she's the oldest of four, a senior in high school. She began her activism as a freshman in high school when she joined Cause Youth Committee. She's advocated for environmental justice at the state level, as well as here at home for a healthy South Oxnard. As an immigrant herself, Yesenia has been advocating for immigrant rights at the city and county level. She has spent countless hours assisting farm workers through the Maria and Woolsey wildfires, as well as signing them up and assisting them with their applications for the 805 and DocuFund. She's a graduate of the Cause Dr. Marcos Vargas Summer Youth Fellowship internship. She believes in social justice and equal opportunities for Black, Indigenous, and all people of color. Please welcome Yesenia Gonzalez.
Hello, everybody. My name is Yesenia Gonzalez. I'm a youth leader with Cause, and I'm here today to share my story as a Oaxacan Indigenous woman and how I started my activism through with Cause. My life as a child was never easy. I crossed the borders with my parents at the age of 2. My mother always tells me how difficult the trip was and how much we had to overcome. On the first night alone of the trip, my feet swelled up and were covered in blood. The bushes I walked through had thorns that penetrated my clothing and dug deep into my skin. At that moment, my father and mother wanted to turn back because their 2-year-old daughter couldn't stop crying and could no longer walk. My mother tells me a man offered to carry me all the way to the border. My mother always told me that I had good luck, that people always offered to help me in some way or another. She told me that people were always on my side. But as I grew up, I realized that wasn't always the case. America isn't just to foreigners, to the lower class, immigrants, and Black, Indigenous people of color, especially those who don't fit the norm, in this case, me. Since I came at a young age, it wasn't difficult to learn English, but that wasn't the case for everybody. I witnessed other people at my school getting bullied for their brown skin, for not speaking perfect English, and I remember going through a phase where I was ashamed of being a person of color. I used to want to be white, to have a mother and father that didn't have to hide from the police. I used to dream of being someone with a normal name, I said to myself. My idea of perfect was living in a white house with a picket fence surrounded by other people who didn't struggle with money or people who didn't look like me. I was ashamed of being a daughter of farm workers, an immigrant. I was angry I couldn't have what other kids had. Why can't I travel? Why can't I see my parents on the weekends? I asked myself. During my freshman year of high school, in one of my classes, Elcide came and gave a presentation on what cause is and the issues they fought for. To be honest, at first I wasn't really paying attention. I was just happy that she was taking up class time and I was saved from getting my homework checked, the homework I hadn't completed. All I remember is her talking about farm worker rights and better school lunches. I wasn't planning on joining until my friend mentioned how community service hours looks really, really good on college applications. I went to one meeting on campus, but as a high school freshman, it didn't really catch my attention, my short attention span. They were talking about city council and school board meetings, and at that point, I didn't even know those existed. A couple months later, the Woolsey fire came, and Ossie texted me, "Hey, we need help handing out masks to farm workers." And I said, "Sure." I signed up and headed to the college office and volunteered. It wasn't until I got to the fields that I realized how hard farm workers' jobs really are, how horrible the conditions are. Not only was it really hot, but there was smoke and you can barely see the sky. Keep in mind, these farm workers didn't even have masks, and their employers hadn't even offered them one. I thought being a farm worker's daughter, I knew everything about the job. It turns out I didn't. I think that moment was the moment I realized I wanted to do something and say something about this. Not just for the farm workers, but the fight against my community and the injustices it faces. I remember coming home that day and telling my mom how many masks I handed out and how thankful the farm workers were. I think something in me that day clicked, something that ignited my passion for activism. I officially joined Cause and started attending the meetings more regularly. Soon enough, I was offered the opportunity to go to Sacramento for Ocean Day. My initial thoughts were, oh my God, I get to go to Sacramento, and on a school day, this has to be a 2-for-1 deal. Then they tell me I have to talk to legislators, and at this point, I can barely exchange a few words with the cashier at the Walmart register. So how am I supposed to talk to legislators, people with power, people who intimidated freshman me? When I tell you I was panicking, I was panicking. Like I was shaking, shivering. I couldn't even hold my breath. Then the meeting comes around and you expect me to freak out, right? Shivering, panicking, not knowing what to do. Because that's definitely what I was expecting myself to do. But in reality, once I got there, I saw other youth talking and mentioning bills they wanted to help pass. I was in awe of how their vocabulary was so advanced, the way they spoke was perfect. One youth in particular didn't even stutter. She got straight to the point and answered every question with confidence. I realized then that almost everybody in that room wanted to be there. They all had something to say. And I wanted to be that person, the person who wasn't afraid to speak up or be the voice for their community. Not just the person that was handing out masks during the fire, but the one to speak up and advocate for our community, to create change. When it was my turn to tell my story, I realized how easy it was, how my words formed and how my story untangled itself. That was the first time I advocated for justice, not only for myself, but for my community. Uh, A couple months passed, and I started attending more meetings and giving out public comments. I even started inviting people to the meetings. Finally, I found something I was passionate about. I attended almost every meeting, and then come my second semester of sophomore year, we had a special meeting. This isn't any other meeting. This is the meeting where we talk about the campaigns we want to take on as a cause youth. Thinking back on it now, I don't think I realized how difficult and hard it was to actually take a campaign on. I thought you simply pick a campaign, talk on it, and we automatically win, right? Spoiler alert, I was wrong. The campaign we chose was an environmental justice campaign, the current port expansion. And I say current as in present tense because this has been a 2-year campaign. A campaign that caught my eye since the expansion would affect my community and our access to our beaches. I saw how trucks would come in and out and pass right through our neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that had high percentages of kids with asthma, and how this would worsen the conditions of people who already suffer from this and other respiratory illnesses. My family has experienced the effects of bad air quality and pollution firsthand. My father struggles with asthma, and my younger sister suffered from it when she was younger. Imagine what these medical bills and costs look like for people who have no access to healthcare. My question is, how is my community expected to handle so much pollution when we're already struggling with the current air quality? Not only would this affect families like mine who suffer from respiratory problems, but in South Oxnard, we have little to no access to our beaches. Beaches which are 5 minutes away have now turned to 40 minutes because our families go to Ventura or Carpinteria because they're accessible and free from industry. How is a beach that is 40 minutes away more accessible than a 5-minute drive to our local beaches? As I fought for my community's health and our right to clean air, I applied and got offered the opportunity to join the cause internship. It was a summer internship, and most kids would be hesitant, right? Not me. I had nothing to do during summer, I had nothing to do during summer other than to take care of my siblings. So I took this as an opportunity not only to learn how to be a great community leader, one who jumps in during disasters to hand out masks, one who speaks out and isn't afraid to advocate, and now with this fellowship, I've learned the tools to organize at the grassroots level. Not going to lie, it was also my chance to not have to babysit my siblings all summer long. It was a win-win situation. During this internship, I got to learn how to organize and plan meetings, what it's like to write a speech for yourself, how to reach out to other groups and organizations that might need our help or that could potentially help us. Not just that, but I made some awesome friends from Oxnard and other cities as well. This helped me realize that I wasn't alone. There were other people that looked just like me, youth my age and people from my community who were speaking out. Other people I can turn to and ask for help. Looking back at it, I think the internship really helped me grow as a person and as a leader. I'm extremely grateful for how cause has changed me and opened my eyes to the problems we face. I think this definitely left a positive impact, and the knowledge I gained will stay with me forever. And I mean literally, because to this day, I overanalyzed everything. I could be watching a movie and realize the underlying theme is racism. And once I start connecting the dots, it's like a roller coaster. But I think that's a good thing, because now I'm aware of the issues I wasn't before. It took me a couple years, but now I realize being a person of color, being an immigrant, and a daughter of 2 hardworking farm workers isn't a bad thing. In fact, I think it makes me stronger because now I have a story I can share and speak out about to empower myself and future leaders who are struggling or simply don't really know what they're fighting for yet. Now I'd like to thank you for listening to my story, and I hope you learned something from this and it can reside with you. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Lucas Zucker. I'm the Policy and Communications Director here at CAUSE. Thank you so much for being here with us through this first virtual Raising Justice. I just want to close by saying, if you're like me over the past few months, it's been so difficult hearing so many of the heartbreaking stories about how this pandemic is hitting our communities, hitting people of color hardest, widening the economic and racial gaps in our society. But that's not why we're here today. We're not here to hear sad stories today. or scroll through our depressing social media feeds. We are here because we need to hold on to these moments of connection, these moments of inspiration, where we get a chance to learn from each other what's going on in our own community, what ordinary people are doing to achieve extraordinary things, and fight back against what we're struggling with. And all of us actually taking action together right now, and being more than ourselves as individuals, and being part of this movement. I am just so inspired by all of the grassroots folks fighting for our community that we listened to today. Yesenia, Florina, Estela, farm workers organizing for justice and dignity, renters fighting to stay in their homes, youth working to create a healthier, better world for their families, people who are speaking out against the odds, who are risking everything, who are working day in and day out to make our community a better place. Now is your opportunity to join them in the fight, to show your solidarity and stand with them as they're standing with all of us. So many of you have been with Cause through thick and thin. I've seen so many people in the comments today who we've been working with for years, in the trenches through so many battles for immigrants' rights, for environmental justice, farm worker rights, housing, and you've been with us through some of the greatest challenges that we faced as a community, as an organization, as a society, as a country. But right now, this is such an incredible time. It is a time when all of us are being asked to step up and do more than we ever have, to determine what the future is, this crossroads that we're at as a nation and as a local community. And so right now, organizations like Cause, we need you more than ever. And I want to ask you to consider, if you've been giving to Cause for a long time, think about, is now the time, is now this moment, this crisis, where I'm going to really step up and think about what I can give a little bit more, to really take this work to the next level. If you've never given to Cause, if you've never given to a nonprofit organization in your life, think about, is now this moment when I really want to show who I am and how I want to take action in my community. So I really encourage you to open your generosity today, and be part of this movement, be part of raising justice. And so we'll display on the screen here the ways you can give. You can go to our website, causenow.org, and donate there. And we also have a very easy text to give, where you can text the phrase "Cause Now" to 44321 on your phone. And you can give through Apple Pay or PayPal, or it'll pop up with a place you can enter in a credit card. If you like doing things the old school way, you can also mail a check to us at Cause, 2021 Sperry Avenue, Suite 9 in Ventura, California, zip code 93003. So many ways to give, and isn't this great? We've all been able to join this event from the comfort of our own homes and be able to give from the comfort of our homes. So no excuses. No, I forgot my checkbook, because we're all here and ready right now to make a contribution. So I hope all the folks here watching can think about what's the best way to be part of this movement today. So while everyone's working to get their contribution in, join us in the comments. Let us know, why do you give to Cause? What are you raising justice for? What inspires you to support Cause's work? I know for many of you, you've been giving for almost 20 years, since Cause's birth, to support this organization. What's kept you around? What's kept you supporting this work with us? Thank you, everyone. Feel free to join us here in the comments and let us know why you've been supporting. We have so many. Thank you again to all of our pre-event sponsors, who have been supporting even before this event, and helped make this event possible. Thanks for getting that info back up on the screen. And Rosa says, I gave, you should too if you can. Vanessa Frank says, grateful for the strong community Cause weaves together. Jeremy Myers says, I support Cause because it helps to develop amazing community leaders like those we heard from today. Cause gets results. Cause is the most impactful social/economic/environmental justice organization in the Central Coast region, and that impact is felt statewide and beyond. Kim Stevenson, Cause has proved over and over that they can beat the odds, whether the odds are beating Schwarzenegger or preparing underrepresented youth into and through top-notch colleges. Michelle Hasendong's Cause is not only inspiring, but also extremely effective, building power from the grassroots up. Akemi says, I love the Central Coast and the people here, and this helps strengthen our community. Sharon, Cause is a reliable organization that sees the big picture and never flinches from taking a stand. I believe in Cause. Marcos says, I give to Cause because they're about building a grassroots movement for progressive social change in our region. Si se puede. Lucky Lynch, going to the website now. Alvaro, I will support Cause once again. Will make my donation today. Gloria, I just made my donation. Thank you, Cause. Thank you, everyone. Donations are flying in. We really appreciate this show of solidarity. I think for all of us organizations that are doing online events for the first time this year, it's a huge challenge, but it's been so inspiring to see so many familiar faces join us to share why they're supporting us and engage in the comments and make a contribution. We're really so happy to have your support, during this really difficult time. Host Cause is committed to their mission and continue to be a champion for social, environmental, economic justice and building capacity, including youth development and partnerships throughout the Central Coast. Roberto, there is no better social justice organization to support. It's the best investment we can make for the development of youth, organizing our farm workers, and raising social consciousness. Stanley said, you're not only effective at creating positive change, but you're building power at the grassroots level for the long haul. I just made my donation. Thank you for moving us toward a better world. Joni Jones, supporting our local community is so important to our family. This has been so informative, supporting our local students and empowering the people, sending a check today. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to all of our long-standing supporters. Thank you to all of our brand new supporters. Thank you to the folks who are stepping up and making a donation like they never have before this year. Help us meet the challenges of this pivotal time in our country's history and our local community's history. Sonia Croft says, Cause is at the forefront of progressive issues, leading by example and nurturing the next generation of leaders. Now more than ever, we need inspiration and action. Celia says, I gave early at $100. It is a stretch for me, but I know how important it is. What amount would be a stretch for you? Let's do this. Everyone who's stretching to the fullest. Kathy Murillo, Cause fights for dignity for the hardest working among us, protects the environment, empowers women and youth. Araceli always will support Cause, amazing work they do, and very proud to be part of Cause for over 10 years. Araceli's great comment to close this on and to thank everyone again one more time. I just want to announce that we are having policy chats after this. I'm excited by this as our nerd and chief and policy director to join you to discuss some of the important policy issues facing our community right now. We're going to have 3 Zoom policy discussions if you'd like to be part of a small group discussion with all of the amazing progressive leaders that we have across the region right now. One is going to be with myself on change and challenge, getting out the vote during COVID-19. Another one is going to be with Hazel Davalos, our organizing director from Essential to Powerful Farm Workers in a Pandemic. and the last is with our fearless executive director, Maricela Morales, Safety Net for All, Immigrant Resilience. So we would love to have you join us for those conversations, share what you're thinking about these important issues and how we're navigating this pandemic. I think we're really calling on the collective wisdom of our community right now. So join us on those Zoom links that should be emailed out to you if you're registered. And we would love to join you for the next hour in this conversation. So finally, I just want to close with thank you so much for making this first virtual event for us a huge success. I think all of us on the Cause team didn't know how this would go. We're incredibly nervous today, but are so glad that we had so many of our Cause family and community join us, and a really smooth event, and so many people engaging from all over. We really, really appreciate you, all of your support, and everything you all are doing, both individually and collectively as a community, to advance social, economic, and environmental justice here in the Central Coast, throughout California, throughout the nation, and throughout the world. Thank you so much, everyone.